Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about insecurities and, 5 pieces of advice I have for handling insecurities. So the first thing I would say is realize that insecurity is a normal human emotion. Everyone feels, insecure about certain aspects of themselves. That's normal. I think in our day and age where we want to eliminate all negative things in life, whether it's insecurity, self doubt, fear, I think that's the wrong approach. In some ways, these parts of our life are needed um, in the sense of it's in overcoming these feelings that we gain anything in life. For example, for most dating situations, right? It's in the power of overcoming fear and asking someone out that people go on dates and, eventually get into relationships and then maybe get married, right? So, you know, if there wasn't fear in life, I'm not sure how life would work. There has to be a certain level of fear, you know, um, to, you know, get some of the good things in life, the risks in life. Um, when someone runs for president, right, that's a risk. But the reward only comes because you're willing to overcome the risk, right? Um, you know, so I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure if I explained that well, but I guess my point is while we need a certain amount of, the quote unquote negative feelings that we, attribute, I think it's important to monitor them in terms of making sure they're a measured healthy amount and not an unhealthy big amount. And sometimes judging this, as the individual going through it is tough, right? And so in that case, I would go to point number two if you're having trouble with that. And point number two is try and get a third party objective perspective, right? So our self awareness is not as good as we think it is, in situations where we're emotionally involved. So, say you're having insecurity about your relationship, you know, ask a couple friends, ask a therapist. Hey, listen, this happened. I'm feeling slash reacting this way as a result. Do you think I'm overreacting? Again, like with people who aren't emotionally, involved and have a stake in the situation, they're able to be more objective in giving insights on the situation. Um, so I would go that route. I think the third thing I would say is can you use the insecurity, as a motivating tool to better yourself? Can you look at it as more of like a problem that needs to be solved, right? So in this, what comes to mind is say you have a financial insecurity. Um, rather than viewing it as a stress or burden, think about it as a problem that needs to be solved. Like, alright, how much money would you like to make a month? If you have a job, are you doing the best job that you can? If you feel like it, has it been enough time to speak to your boss and ask for a promotion or a raise? If you feel like your job won't give you a raise anytime soon, what are other income streams that you could possibly pick up based on your skills? Just trying to turn that insecurity into a solvable problem rather than, a stressor, I think is something I would think about. The fourth thing I would say is live in the present and ask yourself, what do you control? I find that a lot of the times people have an insecurity for a future outcome. Um, a great example is just like a lot of my friends have the insecurity of, ending up being single and, not ever getting married. For me, I understand that it's tough not to play the what if game and to look into the future, um, and be nervous, but I think it's important when you get in those mindsets to kind of take a couple deep breaths and say to yourself, let me stay in the present and think about what I control. So if that's something that you're insecure about, what are you controlling in terms of your effort in dating? Are you meeting up with people? Are you on the dating apps? Are you, in extracurricular groups where you might meet new people? You know, Looking at yourself and what you think is the right amount of effort, I think you need to write that out. And after that, if you're doing, that effort, if it's, let me go on a this dating app once a day, for 5 minutes, if that's what you write down as your effort point, after, like, if you're doing that, you're doing everything you can. Everything else is out of your control. And it's obviously much easier said than done, but you have to understand as long as you're doing everything you can, that's all you can ask from yourself. Finally, I would say the fifth thing is like, ask someone who has expertise in the situation if you can. Um, Say you're preparing for a job interview and you're feeling insecure about whether you're ready, I would say if you can objectively write down what you've done to prepare for the interview, then if you can connect with someone who's already in that role and be like, this is the prep I've done. Based on your experience, do you think this is sufficient? Um, you could say like, I've researched the company, the role. I've done some mock interviews with friends to simulate, my nerves in this situation. I think I'm good. You being in that position and having gone through this process, do you think I'm, done enough preparations? Um, and I think, you know, this is a gray area in the sense that, some situations you're just going to have to rely on yourself, and that's a part of life, right? So, like, preparing for an exam, um, if you don't have any friends or classmates that you can study with, and you have to rely on yourself, and you have to just again write down what you think is enough prep, um, and then do that, and based on how the exam goes, you'll know whether that was the right approach or not, and whether you need to change the approach, for the next exam. um, Again, I think my main thing is just, giving yourself credit, um, for the work you're putting in terms of the preparation, and just being, happy with that. The uncontrollables are the uncontrollables. Hope that helps. Those five pieces of advice. If there's something within the insecurity topic that I didn't address, feel free to message me and just give me the scenario or the thought you're thinking about. If you have any other feedback, let me know as well. Thank you guys. Hope you're doing well.